Well, it's my good friend Rob Smith back on the line. How are we doing today, Rob?
Very well, thank you. Yes, good. I've got my morning coffee here. It's going
Morning
down
coffee.
nicely.
Going down well.
Hmm.
Well, Rob, fresh from ComicCon, where you met the lovely Denise Richards, wanted to get into what Denise had to say, what your interaction was like. But before that, just give us the broad strokes, perhaps for the people that have never been to Comic-Con before. What is it like and what can they expect?
Yeah, so it's 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 big. There's a lot of people there. Okay. It's huge. It's at Olympia in London, big exhibition center. And it has got bigger in recent years. So the first one I went to, I think was probably back in maybe 2008 or something. And in those days, it was at Earl's Court, and it wasn't as big then. And I met a couple of people from ET. I met Gene Marsh, and that was it. There were no Bond people at that one. And then I sort of kept an eye on it, but it didn't have people that I was interested in meeting. And then come 2015 was the big Back to the Future one. And they had Michael J. Fox, they had Christopher Lloyd, they had Leah Thompson, they had loads of other people from the film. I was like, right, I've got to go. I've got to meet all these people, get my poster signed, get my Blu-ray box signed. Little did I know how difficult it is to actually get to some of these people, because what happens is you have to queue to get in. The queue to get in before the doors open goes all down the street, all around the block, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. They get there at like 6 in the morning. It opens at 9. And the point of getting there early is you have to then go and find the person you want to meet. And there's no map, there's no one to tell you. You have to go running around aimlessly trying to find this person. Then, when you find them, you have to get in the queue. Now, if this person is really popular, it's a virtual queue because they don't have the queuing space at the table. So they give you a number in your place in the queue. They have a person handing out tickets. And if you get there at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and you finally find them and you get the number and it says you are number 250 in the queue or 400 in the queue, it's like, well, what are they at now? And what they do is they give priority to diamond pass in inverted commas. So what you can, I didn't realize this then, and I quickly discovered that if you pay more to get a diamond pass for a particular guest, then you are guaranteed to meet that guest, get your
Hmm.
stuff signed, get your photograph, because you can jump the queue basically. You can get to the front of the queue. And then everyone else who doesn't pay the diamond pass, they have to just get there at the crack of dawn and get in there and queue and get their ticket. But sometimes you, even if you do that, if loads of people bought diamond passes, you still might not meet them. And that
Hmm.
happened. That was the case with Christopher Lloyd because he takes a long time to sign, and he had so many Diamond Pass people who paid, and he was still signing Diamond Pass people at the end of the day
Oh,
back in
im-
2015. So
imagine
I was
being the
gutted. I
last
didn't.
person that you're just going, right, I'm next, and then he calls
Yeah,
time
and
on
then they
it.
go.
You're like,
Yeah,
oh.
I got Leah Thompson. I was the last person that Leah Thompson signed before she left the building on the Sunday.
Oh, man.
And I was like, fucking hell, you've got to really like if you want to meet that person and they're selling diamond passes on the website, you
Mm,
have to get a diamond pass because you're not guaranteed to meet them otherwise. And Denise Richards was listed as diamond pass. So
right.
I then thought, well, I'm going to have to get a diamond pass because I've got to meet Denise Richards because this is her first appearance at a film and comic con in the UK. Um,
Okay, let's talk about that. So, what was it like meeting Denise and like when you skipped the queue because you got the diamond pass? Did everyone go, "Oh, look at that arsehole, he's going straight to the front.
well,
He
so
thinks
I
his poo don't smell."
Yeah, so I went on the Sunday because on the Sunday she also did a talk. So the Diamond Pass included her talk. And I think by that stage, a lot of the fans who wanted to meet her had already been on Saturday or the Friday. And actually, it turned out I didn't even need a Diamond Pass for her. There was nobody handing out tickets. She didn't have a very big queue of people. I mean, there were
Mm,
people always queuing up for her. She wasn't sitting at an empty table, but it wasn't, it wasn't out of control. They didn't have to give you virtual tickets. And I was chatting to a guy actually later on downstairs at the Bond Archives about this, and he said, "Oh, I didn't get a diamond pass. I looked at the price and thought, well, that's a lot more than if you just buy one autograph and one photo shoot. I'm not going to pay all that, And I was like, well, yeah, turns out I didn't need to get Diamond Pass, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
So, and the
Don't want to
fact
take
that
that
they're
risk.
listed as Diamond Pass means
Mm.
they are anticipating a lot of people. Because obviously she's done a lot of stuff. She's done Starship Troopers, she's done Wild Things, she's a big star besides James Bond.
Mm. So how is it like I've queued up before for signatures at the various Bond events, and you take your picture with them, you hand over like 25 quid, whatever it is. Is it like that, or is it all paid for now with the Diamond Pass? There's no
So
cash in hand type thing with this stuff anymore.
it's yeah. So if you've got a Diamond Pass, you pay in advance with your card online, and
Yeah.
then they give you a tag, a Diamond Pass tag that you get stamped for one autograph. It used to be two, and they've
Right.
now changed it to one, which is really
Well, that's because Christopher Lloyd takes 10 minutes to sign one, so he's like,
yeah.
well, screw
Yeah,
this.
Kenny Baker did as well. Remember R2D2, bless his heart, just before he died, he was like
Oh
so
boy.
slow. But
Yeah.
yeah, they stamp it. So they stamp it when you get one item signed because you've paid for that in advance. They stamp it when you get your photo done. They stamp it when you go to the talk because there was a talk
Mm.
for Denise. And also, if you get a diamond pass, you get a free gift, which is just
Oh.
a mug or something.
Oh, nice.
And I often forget to get the gift because it's just not really very good. And I was like, oh, someone said, oh no, you got to get your gift. So I went to get my gift. And it was nothing to do with Bond. It was something to do with Starship Troopers. I didn't even want the thing. Wandering around with this, what to do with it. I ended up chatting to someone who loves Starship Troopers. He said, oh, can I have it? I was like, well, yeah. I was only going to go in the bin. I was like, well, how much do you
Oh.
want for it? I was like, well, nothing. Take it. Really? I was like, yeah, take it. I don't want the bloody thing. Take it away. So
There, there is a good bit in Starship Troopers where they've captured the main alien and like the mate you've seen it, right? You've seen Starship Troopers.
many years ago.
Right. And the main alien, like this bug, has a mouth that looks like a vagina. Like that's basically his face is like a vagina. And then as they're doing this news report in the background going, and we've now got the bug under control and under our command, and they insert this huge electronic cattle prod into like his face, which just looks like this vagina, and they go
Oh
anyway.
God.
Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's if you get the diamond pass. If you just rock up and with cash in hand, then
Mm,
you just go out to the table, however many photographs you want signed or your own item that you bring, you pay for that. And Denise was charging £55 per autograph and
right.
£55 per photo shoot. And
Mm,
so it was like, oh God, a lot of people are saying, God, I'm not paying that.
mm,
But it depends how much you want this person. I mean, I wanted her to sign my Blu-ray box set that so many of the cast have signed, and some of them have sadly
mm.
since passed away. So that's very special to me. So I was like, no, I'll pay that. I'm happy to pay that. It's not too extravagant. I mean, Michael J. Fox, he was charging hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds per autograph. But to
Wow.
be fair to him, it was going to his charity for motor neuron disease. It wasn't going to him. But I
Fair play.
couldn't afford that, and
Yeah.
along with all the other ones. But people did. A lot of people did.
Yeah.
Big Back to the Future fans. But yeah, that's how it works. And she was great. She was so nice. But when you go up there, sometimes if I mean, they all have their photo shoots that you pay for, but a lot of the less of the big stars, they tend to be okay with photos at the table. So
Yeah.
if you want to do a selfie at the table, they're okay with that, and you don't have to pay for that. But the big stars, they've got big signs up saying no pose photographs. So
Yes. I
if you
saw
want a
the
picture with
photo
them,
that you sent me, and we'll splice it in here
yeah,
of someone taking a picture of Denise talking to someone with the no
yeah.
photo
Well,
sign in the
normally
background.
normally it says no pose photographs, but next to Denise, they blanked out the pose, so it
Right.
just said no photographs. Full
Ah,
stop.
okay.
So then you can't even take a picture of her signing your book to
That's
prove that
interesting.
she's signing it. So
Yeah.
someone obviously just decided to do that and risk
Yeah.
getting into trouble.
Some rude
But
practice.
then it was actually posted on the official Showmasters website. So maybe the organizer took that picture and got her permission or something, I imagine.
Yeah.
Because I certainly wouldn't risk taking that and then putting it on social media.
Well, I know that, yeah, I know that Denise Richards was upset about something, and we'll get onto that, I think. But
Yeah.
I want to hear about her talk because you mentioned that she did a talk. What did she say specifically about Bond?
Yeah, so she talked about lots of things. She was asked about Bond, and she said that at the time she had never seen a Bond film. she knew what James Bond was, obviously, but she'd never seen a Bond film. And her agent had got her a screen test, and she was like, "Oh, is this good then?" And he was like, "Yeah, you need to go to London to do this." Or no, initially she had to go to Los Angeles. She did a screen test in Los Angeles, and then they wanted her to go to Pinewood to do a screen test there and over Thanksgiving. And she was a bit like, oh, well, it's over Thanksgiving because she's close to her family. But her father went with her,
Mm,
and she went to Pinewood, she did this screen test, and she got the role. And she just didn't realize it was such a big deal. Her agent was saying, no, this is big, Denise. This is you're going to be a Bond girl. This is big.
yeah, this will
And
be the peak for you, girl.
yeah, because I think she'd done Starship Troopers already by then, but she it was still quite early on in her career, and she was very unprepared for how big it was, and she found it quite overwhelming. So the press coverage that
Mm,
she received was
mm,
overwhelming, and all the publicity for the film post-filming was overwhelming,
mm,
um, and I think she found it quite difficult to deal with actually.
mm,
And when she did say when she was filming as well, she was very, very anxious all the time, working with alongside people like Judi Dench. You know, I think her first scene was with Judi Dench, and she was convinced she was going to fluff her lines and stuff, and she was in the right state over it. And you know, that's an endearing quality, and she came across as a really lovely,
mm.
kind-hearted person. You know, she really did. She seemed very nice, and yeah, so that's pretty much all she said about Bond, was
Mm.
how overwhelming it was and how she wasn't prepared for it. Now obviously she knows, she realizes. I think she didn't say if she'd seen all the films, but yeah, and then
Well,
she
she
just
could
went.
make that up. She could. I'd like for her to at least say that she's seen them all now and read the books, even if she hasn't. I think by
Yeah,
now we're paying 55 quid for an autograph and another 55 for.
I should have
Just say
asked
that
her
you have.
that.
No one's
I
going to
should have.
quiz her. No one's going to
uh,
say, right, name me all the number plates on the
Yeah,
DB5. You know, just say yes.
I should have asked her that. I should have put my hand up and asked her what she thought of like Daniel Craig in the recent films, but I didn't want to embarrass her if she'd be like, "Oh, I haven't seen them," you know.
Yeah.
But I did ask her. I mean, when I went to get the signature, you're very aware that you don't want to sort of talk to them for too long because there's a great queue of people behind you. You don't want to
Mm.
monopolize their time. But at the same time, you pay a lot of money for this, so you think, well, you want to have at least a little
Yeah.
bit of a conversation. It's not just sign here, you know.
Yeah. You want to have a
Um,
memory as well to take away, right?
yeah, and that's why I do this. I'm not someone who just buys autographs online because A, you don't know if they're genuine, and B, I like to do it in person. I like to meet the person, have that memory. That means more to me than the actual signature.
Mm.
Um, so I just said, "Oh, how long are you in London for? Are you here just for the weekend, or are you here doing a bit of sightseeing this week?" And she said, "Oh, just for the weekend." But she said, "But I am going to Italy tomorrow with my daughters." Which we're all looking forward to. I said, "Oh, well, lovely." And she said, "I said, do you come to London much?" "Oh, yeah." She said, "I come here often. I really like it here." I said, "Oh, great. Well, it's lovely to have you here. It's great for us Bond fans to have you in London. Thank you for
Mm.
coming and doing this London Comic Con." She said, "Oh, thank you. It's lovely to meet you." So
Oh,
yeah,
and
no,
then
she was very nice.
did you ask her out for a pint? And then she goes, no.
That
Now you've crossed the line, Rob.
would be nice. Yeah, no.
But talk to me, Rob, about I heard that there was some disquiet from Denise about something that happened during one of the photos. Can you speak about
Yeah,
that?
so when I went for my photo shoot, they line you all up, and they have someone sort of, you know, in charge of the queue and getting the diamond pass people to the front of the queue and that sort of thing, and then everyone else is behind the diamond pass people. And this guy then briefed us before she arrived and said, "Okay, Denise, when Denise gets here, no touching. It's shoulder to shoulder only, I'm afraid. There was an
Mm.
incident on Friday, and as a result, I'm afraid it's no touching, but you can do shoulder to shoulder with her." I thought, "Oh, now what's that all about then?" So does someone like touch her inappropriately or something? So because I mean, she didn't seem particularly germ conscious. She was happy to shake my hand. She was shaking a lot of people's hands at the table.
Mm.
So I don't know what happened there. He didn't elaborate and I didn't ask, but I'm assuming it's something like that.
God, I just hope no one got carried away in Bond mode and turned around like Dink and slapped him on the ass. Said,
Slapped her on the ass.
not now, Denise.
Yeah, I
Oh,
may, who knows? But it's a shame because they spoil it for everyone else, don't they, these people? But what can you do?
I
I mean,
just
you hope that everyone would be respectful at these events, but maybe you do get a few people who are a little bit sort of, I don't know.
over friendly. I wonder
Yeah.
if also it could just be someone putting their arm around her, and then once your arm is around, you don't see where it lands, and then you might think, oh crikey, this is a bit unlucky. I've got like two fingers on a side boob here, but then you can't take the hand away because it looks like you are obviously so you have to keep it there for the photo, and then like everyone's uncomfortable, but it is a pure accident, and I don't know, some
Yeah, and
people.
the way they do it, it's so quick. I mean, it's literally a conveyor belt because they have so many people. It's like stand next to them, smile, photo, next one. Stand next to them, smile, photo, next one.
Mm,
It's so yeah. So it's not like you're sort of standing there for any length of time having a little cuddle, you know.
mm. Interesting. Well, hopefully she'll be back. It didn't put her off.
I'm
She'll
sure
come
she
back for
will.
future
I'm sure
ones.
she will. She said in her talk at the end of Sunday that she'd had a great time and she loved meeting
Oh,
everyone.
that's nice.
And yeah, she said she'd love to come back.
Oh, that's good news. Well, talk to me about the prices then. I mean, I know you said 55 for photos, but this is a real expensive hobby now. Are people getting priced out of these things, do you think?
Yeah, some people are, yeah. It has got a bit more unaffordable in recent years. And as I said, the Diamond Pass used to include two autographs. Now it's only
Mm,
one, which I
mm,
don't think represents good value for money personally. I think it's because you're paying a lot of money. I think it should be two. And because you might want a Blu-ray box signed and you
mm,
might want a poster signed. That's what I have for Back to the
mm,
Future, you know, or you might want a photo signed and a poster or something. So quite often you might want two items signed. Um, I mean, yeah, it's a shame really, but I suppose it depends who you're meeting. I mean, if they're really big stars, then obviously showmasters have to pay them a lot of money,
mm,
and they then feel they need to charge a lot of money to make it worth their while to fly to London from LA or wherever to sit there for 3 days signing.
mm.
So yeah, it can get really expensive. I mean, the Back to the Future one was crazy. I mean, I had to forego a holiday that year
You
because
can
it
afford it.
you just end up spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds because it's 20 quid to get in, you know.
Mm,
Then I spent 90 quid for a photo with Michael J. Fox with a DeLorean. Then it was like 90 quid for a diamond pass with Christopher Lloyd, you know. So
mm.
you've spent 220 quid already, and then you've got maybe five more autographs you want to get that could be 20, 30, 40 pounds each, you
What
know.
about Billy Zane? What about Billy Zane? Is Billy Zane there?
Billy
Billy
Zane.
Zane. He was one of Biff's crew, right? Is
Oh
that
no,
right?
he wasn't there, no.
But what
No.
a weird signature, and like how much, because that's interesting, because that was before he became famous, obviously, before he became an established
Yeah, no, he
actor,
wasn't there.
right? And yet,
They had
do
Biff.
you
Biff
pay
came the following year. Biff
Biff
came in
cam?
2016 and he was great. Tom Wilson, Thomas F.
Almost, I
Wilson.
say, yeah, yeah,
And he actually it's quite funny. I don't know if you've seen his video. He's because you know he's a stand-up comedian
yeah.
and he's done a song. Have you seen
But yeah,
his
I've
song?
seen that song, yeah, where he sings about what's Marty McFly like in real life. I
Yeah.
don't know. Or what, what's
Yeah.
no, who's the dad? Who's Marty McFly's dad?
Crispin Glover.
That's it. Yeah, he goes, "What's he like? A little weird."
Yeah,
In the
that
song, doesn't
song is brilliant. It
that
is
is a really
so
good song.
funny because it's basically what all these fans keep asking him
Mm,
these stupid questions,
mm.
and it's like, was it real manure? It's a movie.
Yeah,
Um, do you guys all hang out? No, you
yeah.
know, all this stuff. And I said to him, like when I was queuing and I met him, I said, you ought to have that song playing on loop for all
So
these
people
people queuing
know.
up so
Yeah,
no one
yeah.
asks you stupid questions. And he thought that was hilarious. He hadn't thought of that. And
Yeah,
he thought, that's brilliant. That is
that's
absolutely
good.
brilliant. And then when I met him later in the day for the photograph, he remembered my name. Hello, Rob. He was like, oh,
Oh, that's sweet. Well, that's
that's
good
so
for
he's
him.
met literally hundreds of people that day. So yeah,
Yeah.
that obviously made an impression with him. And that was nice.
Well, the one thing that puts me off doing autographs or Comic Cons is how bad I feel for the other people that you don't have signatures or like. So, for example, when I did George Lazenby, the On Your Majesties, you had Terry Mount in there, Martin Beswick, you had all of like the Bond luminary there. And I'm like, Rog. Sorry, Anastasia's just coming. I said, I've only got like 30 quid on me for George's signature. And so you have to go along the line and go, hi, sorry, no, hi. And I feel so terrible because they're just, they've hardly had any signatures most of the day and it's all for George.
Yeah. Well, it
So,
depends what event you go to. So the film fairs and the Comic Cons aren't like that. You're not walking down a table of people who you don't want to get the sign. They're individual tables that you go to.
right,
So you then
okay.
get people
They've got their
sat
own
there with
table.
an empty table and no one queuing.
I feel so
So
bad for these people that
no,
like,
don't. That's up to them if they want to spend their weekend doing that, you know.
oh, no, I've got a little bit of a soft
But
spot for
I
those
get what you're
people.
saying. I get what you're saying, and yeah, and I mean some of the Bond events, yeah. If they asked, like the Bond Stars events used to be, you'd go to the table and you'd walk down, and generally I would get everyone to sign if I could afford it, but
Mm.
and a lot of the behind the scenes guys at the Bond events wouldn't charge. Peter
Oh,
Lamont never charged, Norman Wanstall never charges, Guy Hamilton didn't charge. So that was nice. I've got a lot of Bond stuff signed by crew that didn't cost money. But
that's
yeah,
nice.
I get what you're
Peter
saying.
Lamont charged me.
Really?
Yeah. He signed my
Well,
golden gun poster because he told me that he was the one that showed Christopher Lee how to put the golden gun together because he couldn't figure it out.
someone must have advised him to start charging because he never used to
No, it was just me. Everyone else got it for free because that guy, you can charge him whatever you want.
Maybe that was not towards the end of his
Yeah,
life,
probably.
when this whole charging thing became a thing, because this was never a thing before eBay. I mean, I'm
Mm,
a dinosaur. I went to these events in the 90s. I was in the fan club run by Graham Rye, and I
mm,
went to conventions at Pinewood in 92, 93, 94, and met Desmond Llewellyn, Lois Maxwell, George Lazenby, Eunice Gayson. They never charged. You
mm,
you pay your ticket price includes their fee. It was a lot of money. It was like 110 quid in 92 to get a ticket. That was a lot of money in 92. It's a lot of money now. It's even more in 92. So that covered your meal, it covered the tour of the studio, it covered the film screening, it covered all your autographs. But post eBay, then obviously they're like, oh, we better start charging people because they're selling our stuff on eBay. And I
mm,
remember in 2008 when I went to my first Bond Stars event, which was a Goldfinger at Pinewood, and they had everyone there that
mm,
was still alive, bar Sean Connery. And Margaret Nolan was there, who played Dink. And I think it was her first appearance in the UK because she'd spent many years living in Spain. And she recently moved back to the UK. She'd been discovered by Bond Stars. She was at this event, and she felt so embarrassed about charging. She felt really genuinely
mm,
bad, and she said, but you have to remember, she said, I'm so sorry to ask you for 20 pounds or 15 pounds, but you have to remember, us actors, we don't have pensions, so this is what we have to live off,
mm, mm,
and I think that's another reason why dear old bless her heart Honor Blackman did a lot of stuff
mm.
late in her life, a lot of events and signings, because she lost her pension, didn't she? Do you remember that Sun Alliance thing was all in
Oh
the
yeah, I remember
press?
Sun Alliance. Yeah.
she
Oh, that was.
lost she lost her pension
Uh,
through that when it went bust, and so she then had to go off and do tours of a one woman show and do shows and signings and all of that just to get income.
wow. Do you know what
Yeah.
Margaret Nolan could have done? Is 15 quid for an autograph, fine, but it's £100 to slap me on the ass. And then you'd be like, God, that's tempting. That's really tempted. I mean, I know you're
You
in your
get a
mid
very red
70s, but
ass.
yeah, just one queue of guys all counting out their readies, just one after the other. Listen, Rob, this has been a
Oh
lot
my
of
God.
fun. Thanks for coming back on and doing this because we did all this yesterday, and the audio didn't come out very well. So Rob kindly came back on and did all this again. And even Stephen Dasgupta, who does London Bond, he was on yesterday. I couldn't get him back on today, but thank you, Stephen, for coming on yesterday.
Yeah, it was a shame
Technicals.
we couldn't get him back. It was nice to chat to
It
him.
was. He was great. He was great. But we'll get him back on in the future.
Yeah.
But,
And
all right.
we never mentioned the Bond archives, did we?
No,
About the
we'll do that another
Bond.
time. Do that
Okay.
maybe later in the day because I do want to get Jean Michel on as well, who's headed up the Bong archive. So
Yeah, no, you should. He's cool. And it's an interesting thing that he's put together there from what I saw at the Comic Con. So
yeah,
yeah.
it'll look really good. So I'm hoping to get Jean Michel on. I'm
Mm,
talking to him on email. But in the
cool.
meantime, cheers, Rob. Enjoy your weekend, mate.
Thanks very much. It was great fun. Bye bye.